I'm going to call this meeting to order. Roll call.
McKnight. Myers.
Here.
Roja.
Here.
Vogel.
Here.
Kinder.
Here. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you like me?
Sure.
So at this point, the city had received an application from Six Pack Enterprises in order to transfer a liquor license into the city. The Pennsylvania liquor control laws are such that there's a limited number of licenses, they are limited geographically, and if you're going to bring one into the community from outside of the community, the city council has the opportunity to hear that, the public has an opportunity to hear the application, and then you can review that for approval. And so we have representatives with Six Pack, and we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is John Swick, for those who I don't know. I'm an attorney with the Schaefer Law Firm down the street here. I have with me to my far left John Colgrove and his new wife Shannon, who will get into their roles with the applicant Six Pack Enterprises. I'm going to hand out some exhibits here for everyone to kind of work through. So I'll set kind of a background up for you as to what entities we have working. To Shannon. Yeah, that's fine.
Stand sit. Stand up here?
However you're most
All
comfortable.
right, I'm more comfortable standing up.
Thanks, John.
So let me go through these with everyone first, and then maybe we can enter these into the record here. The first document is a deed, and the deed is for the property that's in question, which is 217 North Street. I understand a few folks on council have some familiarity with this location, but an entity, J&S Colgrove Enterprises, is the limited liability company that acquired this property, as you can see back on March 22nd of this year. J&S standing for John and Shannon, who are the members of that LLC that acquired that property. The next document, which I think is the document that's setting forth the LLC, which is the applicant today, it's the filing with the state, Six Pack Enterprises, just establishing that the entity, which is the applicant, has been established as a limited liability company in the state of Pennsylvania. I think I have one more of these here. Thank you. The third document is a commercial lease. This will be the lease that'll be, and just as an aside, Six Pack Enterprises right now is established with John as the sole member. So he'll be testifying and presenting some evidence on behalf of the applicant. The next document is a commercial lease between the entity that owns the building and the applicant today, which will be the owner of the restaurant that we're applying for the transfer of the liquor license. You can see all the details haven't been filled in yet. This is a kind of a pro forma lease that we will have. Once we get more information, we'll have a lease. And as an aside, the PLCB requires all of what I've just submitted to you, I have to submit to them and have the lease in place and the terms of the lease in place, which we will have at the time of the submission for the PLCB application. The last document is the agreement for the sale of the liquor license. And this is where Six Pack Enterprises is under contract with J&Z Becker Inc. for the acquisition of the liquor license. It was formerly utilized in the operation of the Springboro restaurant, which is now out of business. The liquor license is currently in safekeeping. And as Tim explained to you, the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board, if you're over 3,000, if you're over one liquor license per 3,000 folks in the county, the liquor code requires the approval of the incoming municipality prior to us even applying for the license with the PLCB. So that's why we're here tonight. So Tim, if we could have all those documents on record, plus if the hearing notice, I'm assuming you received confirmation from the Meadville Tribune of the notification of the hearing, that's required as well by the PLCB, so I'd look for that to be put in the record as well. So So with all that background being said, I have John to my left, and what I'm going to have John do is kind of explain for you what his intentions are with this building with regard to the restaurant that he's looking for. So John, maybe you could explain for council what theme, what vibe, what are you looking for in this restaurant when you're looking to open up at this location?
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys having the time to sit down. I appreciate the people that came down last week. We're just gonna make it cleaned up. We wanna do something, we have a couple slogans, but we're basically gonna be blue collar to top scholar. We're gonna do food for all walks of life. We came up with another little thing that's gonna be on the front. It's family, friends, and community atmosphere. Enjoy good food, great company, and laughs after a long day's work. So I'll go into the patrons we're looking for, if that's okay. Basically, like I said, blue collars, the teachers. I wanna do something for the third shift people. We wanna get the C&J, which is right there. The Forge, Channel Lock, the nurses, places they can come in after work and unwind with a nice clean atmosphere. You know, if they decide to have a drink after 7, that's on them. But, you know, we're basically gonna be a restaurant with a small bar.
What kind of hours of operation are you looking for, John?
6 in the morning, we're gonna try to do some maybe takeout stuff with breakfast sandwiches and do some stuff like that. Maybe have a window where people can pull in and grab. 6 to 10, that's it. So
6 a.m.
6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
And
Yep.
just for the council's knowledge, you can't stop serving alcohol till 7, so open up at 6, you wouldn't obviously till start.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, how about the operate, so right now, what's the approximate size of the building, and what do you see the layout between the kitchen, the bar area, the restaurant area?
So it is a very small building. As a lot of people know, it's 1,200 square feet. So most of it is gonna be a little bit of a kitchen, but we're gonna open up from ceiling to wall. It'll probably fit 40 people max, is what I'm thinking. We're gonna try to open up the front for glass, so it opens up the whole view, and I was thinking maybe a 70s style, just a nice clean diner area with a small kitchen. The bar is gonna fit maybe 6 people. So there's not gonna be a bar. I mean, it's gonna be a restaurant with a very, very small bar.
Do you anticipate having the bar open when you're not serving food?
If the bar will not be open if the restaurant's not open. So if the restaurant closes, the bar closes. We're not gonna have anything like that. There's not gonna be any alcohol over 100 proof at any time there. So that's a couple things we've been looking at.
Now, you're closing at 10 p.m., that's kind of closing rather early for a bar. Explain why you're making that decision, John.
We just wanna be, we don't wanna be a problem for the city. We don't wanna be an issue down there. I don't know that area extremely well yet. So, you know, maybe we could work on that if it's a good night and we have a good crowd and it's a family-oriented business and people are feeling the vibe, maybe we can stay open longer, but we're just gonna start at 10 and we'll take it from there. We don't wanna be a problem for the cops or anything like that, so.
What kind of menu are you anticipating?
Price-wise, we wanna be between $10 and $30 is what we're thinking. We have a lot of ideas. The one idea I'm excited about is a family-style breakfast platter, where you can go in there with your family, and if you have kids, instead of wasting all the stuff, you could get like a platter style, like an Amish style dinner, where you might be able to get a $15 platter or a $30 platter, and you could share it with everybody. So that's one of the big things that I'm excited about. The grab and go with the breakfast sandwiches, wings, burgers, homemade dinners, meatloafs. We are gonna have a variety of non-alcoholic beverages. You know, 10 to $30 where people can go and multiple times, and you know, unlike some other places you can't. So.
All right. How about employees? What do you anticipate your staff to be?
Probably 6 to 10. We're thinking maybe we'll have to have a morning crew and a night crew, maybe shut down a little bit in the middle. You know, it's a long time, just to see if somebody has to get in there at 5 and start doing stuff. I know it used to be it used to be a potato donuts, I guess is what it was, spud nuts. Before that, so we're looking at maybe even doing something with a spud nut style breakfast sandwich. So there's a lot of things we can get into looking at.
Okay. I'd open it up to council if you have any issues that you'd like to address with John. I'd encourage you to do so this time.
What days of operation?
I would say Monday through Saturday, closed on Sunday. Maybe Tuesday to Saturday, closed Monday and Sunday. See how it goes, you know, kind of work that in.
In order to serve alcohol on Sunday, you have to get a special permit, so at this point, we're not anticipating applying for that, so certainly Sunday service is probably not going to occur.
Which could be changed, we don't, you know.
I have a question for our solicitor. I think we may need to change the wording. It says Board of Supervisors of the City of Meadville throughout this agreement.
I think that's their agreement. The resolution that's on your agenda has been amended to reflect all the changes already.
Okay, because this was the resolution that came in the package, but you've changed it.
The package that they
Package
handed
that
out.
they handed out.
Yeah, the corrections in the resolution you're actually gonna look at.
Yeah, that was a draft I made for Mr. Walker's benefit, but yes.
One question I had, you had indicated that the hours of operation would be 6 AM to 10 PM. I mean, is that something that council is interested in stipulating for the neighborhood, or is there any?
Like holding them to those
You have the
hours?
opportunity, you know, when you do these approvals, you can put, you know, time, manner, place, you know, requirements on that approval, kind of like a special exception. And so I want you to be aware that you have that opportunity to do it. Oftentimes when my clients do that and somebody's firm and, you know, we're gonna operate from these hours and you think that, okay, that's gonna have a limited impact on the neighborhood and that's something that we would like to see in that neighborhood, then we can add that to the resolution. But it's up to you if that's something that you're interested in doing. I'm not familiar with the specific area and if that's a positive for the area, or, you know, if they stayed open till 2, if that would be a negative for the area, I don't know.
I would just say that, and I'll let you jump in too, John, that while we're not opposed to that, given that it's a new business, this is what John's thinking works, but I think some flexibility may be in order since you don't know what's going to necessarily work. I think, John, maybe you can speak to
Yeah, and I want to say that too. I didn't want to lock myself into not open on Sunday, because I did put, we'd like to be open Sunday. I just, you know, we're trying to think that way. Now, what I was going to say, what you were saying is, I'm not saying anything about the bars down there, but there is a bar within 50 feet that stays open all night long and opens very early. So we're going to try to be a clean, non-issue type of bar. That's all I'm going to say. But there is a bar 50 feet away that's open till 2 o'clock every single day. So as far as the area goes, we're trying to be the
So then you're
clean one.
You're, I'm not trying to be combative, but I'm just trying to understand then your testimony here, or what you're presenting to council regarding what your hours are, those are your proposed hours, those
Correct.
aren't your locked in
Yes, sir.
solid hours.
Yes, sir. There's a lot of ideas floating around my head, so let's just put it that way.
Well, and I think we know when we open a business, things, you know, things on paper and then an application are different, right? Like, and what is successful may be a tweaking, and we have to give you at least that much movement, right, to be successful.
Correct.
So although I like that, I think that I'd rather have in the resolution that he wants to be a clean, right?
Family friendly.
Right, family friendly,
friendly.
and hold him to no extra on our police, which you can't
Yes.
really, you know, you can't do that because that's patrons, right? But
100%.
yeah.
100%. We like bikes. I mean, I'm a motorcycle guy. I wasn't gonna get into all that, but I mean, I might, if we have a bike thing for the veterans or something like that, we might stay open a little longer on a Saturday night. But like I said, there's a lot of ideas we can get to when we get there.
Well, I know I work evenings, and so like most kitchens close until, well, they're all closed. Like, so the only place that's open is Applebee's, so I would appreciate,
Right.
maybe, honestly, you know, because there is, like, the streets just roll up and meet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thank you for being flexible, and I would not want that in the resolution.
What time would you want us to be
selfishly.
open till?
Right.
Till 11.
Till 11? Okay.
Yeah, it is.
That's in the new zoning ordinance, that's a proposed mixed-use district. What is, Peter, what are times for business operation? I should have looked this up.
Unfortunately, I did not come here for the hearing and do not know
Sure.
the address.
You don't
so-
know,
It's
you don't
a
have
mixed
our,
use. It's a mixed use, right?
you
And
don't have our
wonder-
proposed zoning ordinance just internalized?
We just assumed you had it
Yeah.
memorized, Peter,
It's 177 pages, I read it today.
today.
So, in the mixed-use districts, there are designations for operating hours for neighborhood, that's the word, neighborhood oriented businesses, which include things like small bakeries, laundry drop-offs, or other things. Restaurants and bars, depending on the category, they're either a limited restaurant, or just a restaurant, or a tavern and bar, so there's different qualifications on which I don't know where the address of this proposed use is, because I walked in late, so I'm unprepared to answer.
217 North Street.
It's right on the corner of North and Water at the very end by the light.
Now, what you just said, would the penny bar be a different category than where we're at
Just
because of
depending on the street, but who knows how it's cut?
Okay, I
We're just, and at this point, like, we're proposing this ordinance, it's not in.
Yeah,
in
I couldn't
place, yeah.
responsibly tell you out of my memory, so if you give me a couple minutes.
And obviously, this is just step one, this is just the PLCP. Anything that John would do subsequently, you'd have to get approval, comply with zoning, and that would all be part of his due diligence in opening up the operation.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I was trying to understand, like, is it, you know, it's not even maybe worth stipulating times if times are actually gonna be dictated by zoning, in which case, right, it would be in keeping with the neighborhood and that would kind of nullify the concern
Very good.
all the time. So that's just where that's coming from.
Okay. That's why I was wondering if the other side of the street was different from that side of the street.
It could be,
No.
we'd have to see
That's how it
the,
goes sometimes.
yeah, yeah, right?
You
all
gotta
good.
draw the zone line somewhere, you know?
Um,
Great.
So we had the presentation, do we have anybody here for public comment of this? Okay, then I'm gonna ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Discussion? Roll call?
McKnight? Myers?
Aye.
Roha?
Aye.
Vogel?
Aye.
Kinder?
Aye.
That's all. I'm sending it.
All right, I'm gonna call to order our April 19th, 2023 city council meeting. Roll call?
McKnight?
Here.
Myers?
Here.
Roha?
Here.
Vogel?
Here.
Kinder?
Here. And we'll start with public comment on agenda items. No? Okay. Notice of executive session meetings?
There was an executive session meeting April 19th, 2023 for privileged communications with the attorney.
We move to approve minutes April 5th, 2023.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
McKnight?
Aye.
Myers?
Aye.
Roha?
Aye.
Vogel?
Aye.
Kinder?
Aye. Communications?
Council has received 2 letters, one from Fairview Fairmont and Creating Landscapes Food for Thought regarding zoning of the learning shelter they are building, and the other letters from National Fuel Gas reminding council to notify them of any public improvements and projects in the city that could affect their work.
Which we did. Right. Thank you, Erin. Manager's report?
First item is just a little bit of a report out on EMS. So the EMS open house was Saturday. There was a really great turnout. There were some council members there. I don't know if you wanted to say anything about your thoughts on it, but went really well, very positive. As far as EMS operations are concerned, to date, so it's been 2 weeks since the ambulance service has started. There have been 84 EMS calls. 65 of those calls have been transports. 72% of those transports have been the advanced level service category, and all transports have had some sort of medical insurance. Second item is just a notification to council and to the public. It will appear on our Facebook page as well, that the 2023 CDBG first public hearing will be held at the city building on May 3rd at 5:30 p.m. This is directly before the May 3rd city council meeting.
Council subcommittee reports, housing and redevelopment. We haven't had a meeting. I know we had some reporting from Katie last time about the grant and the weatherization, but we, unless you have something to add, community engagement.
We also didn't meet, right? Well, we all kind of had a blitz of creek of meetings, it was really fast. coming out of community engagement, though we did, I put together an EMS handout. There's some literature so folks can understand the EMS division of our fire department. So that's been circulating starting at the open house that Marianne mentioned, and is available for folks. So hopefully just trying to make clear some of the programs that the city is taking on, and get correct information out there. And also, we had a presence at the health fair that was the Immunity is Community or something like that. It was at Active Aging a few weeks ago, so thanks to city staff, Marianne, Guy McCumber, who sits on EAC, and Evan and Officer Trengo was there, for showing up there. That was great, so we're engaging.
We were
in our
also at the
community.
Black Diamond event.
And there was a mayor's table at the Black Diamond event, so that was this past weekend.
Just
Right after the EMS.
We are engaging community.
Real quick, how was the EMS and the Black Diamond, if you want to just share, because I wasn't able to be there. Was it, so you said it was well attended?
Yeah, like Marianne said, the EMS open house was I think certainly well attended. It was, I think it worked out really well. The union, for the most part, the firefighters union organized the ceremony beforehand, so we were able to swear in new paramedics and new firefighters. We were also able to recognize, Jamie read a proclamation, recognize the team that responded to the North Cottage Street fire several months ago, and issued a unit citation and a special badge of valor, I think, to Danny. So it was really great. So there were a lot of families there, which was really nice, and they stayed for the open house. There was food. There was lots to do. There was demonstrations. People were playing with like the CPR dummies. People were checking out the new ladder truck. There was the push-in ceremony, which was really cool to see. Apparently that is a thing with new fire department vehicles, the traditional push-in ceremony. The trucks were blessed and then pushed into the station. Both the new ladder truck that the fire department has, and then the one of the new ambulances of our EMS division. So it was great. It was really nice. There were tours of the station. People just came through and got to, I think, just get more acquainted with our fire department, and then this new service provided through EMS. So it was awesome. Yeah. It was also a beautiful day. It's like 80 degrees.
Yeah. It was beautiful. It was a great event. It's always nice for us to be able to showcase our hometown heroes, right? They do a wonderful job, and we're super proud of them. So to be able to be a part of that and recognize them and be there with them and their families was awesome. And they were all dressed up, right? They dress up, they clean up nice, right? So that was nice too, and to showcase that, right? Our new EMS, building and the personnel. The new employees were extremely grateful to have the jobs and have the opportunity to work for the city. And then the Black Diamond event was later on, and it was great, highlighting Black businesses and for the entire city, and making space for that, right? And people and everybody in the community. So that was a wonderful event. Plus we had a table that we could showcase all the good stuff and the good work we've been doing. So it was just good stuff. It was a good Saturday. It's a beautiful Saturday. Thank you.
And that not really, it is community in a way. I did do the shade tree tour, and Alice Scholander is a brilliant woman. She was like explaining how trees coexist and how their roots, it was really amazing. And they have plans for Fifth Ward. And so it was great to just go around and study the trees. I have a whole list of like trees and further understanding of what trees are good to plant by high wires and which ones aren't. So that would be the rest. That would be my community engagement portion.
Right on. Okay, finance?
Nothing new to report at this time. Gretchen, do you have anything new?
No, hopefully, we're hoping to get that meeting, right?
Yes.
All right. Infrastructure.
We have anything new?
I don't think we have anything new.
But hopefully there's other things that are new.
So an engineering and architecture firm, Burgess and Nyepel, they're out of Erie, they're going to be submitting a proposal on costs of conducting a conditions assessment of the Public Works garage as well as what it would cost for a new garage. So they're going to submit a proposal to what it would cost to do the assessment. So not the assessment itself.
A proposal to do the assessment, okay, all right. To do the assessment, all right.
And we had, sorry, even though like Ashley was the city engineer, but is just bogged down. They're just
He's
really
very
busy right
busy,
now.
we have, yeah.
So, but we would be paying Ashley anyway. It's not like he's on retainer or anything, like, is
Correct.
this isn't a doubling of,
No.
got it, great.
Is there any chance that we can get grant funding?
There are some possibilities that we can explore, yes.
Well, and Jim, I think that out of that National League of Cities, they have this infrastructure hub. It's a website for grants that the federal government is coming out with, which we are able to access and now look for those things. I'm sure Katie's on it, but she's like, yeah, sure. We'll figure it out, and we also have that to look up. It's supposed to make it easier for municipalities to look up, monies, so. Old business. Discussion zoning ordinance. It's your time to shine, Peter.
I'm not sure about that shining part.
Shine bright, Peter, shine bright, good shine.
Talking about my receding hair. That's something else. Thank you, Jim.
Peter, you're on the clock. Okay.
Oh, right.
You didn't set anything, though.
Oh, I'll let them know.
Yeah,
Nice job.
it's an internal clock, huh?
So long as it's incidentally relevant, I checked the proposed zoning ordinance for the definitions of what the applicants for the liquor license are proposing. You'll recall a month ago, we proposed also allowing limited restaurants as a special exception use in the mixed-use 2 district, along with taverns and bars, which are already a special exception in the mixed-use 2 district. This is the old Evolution Printing Systems built,
Yes.
correct? Right. That's in the mixed-use 2 district under the proposed zoning ordinance. And since we conceded that limited restaurants are an acceptable use as a special exception, from their description, it sounds like a limited restaurant rather than a tavern or bar, which has hours of operation of 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. and no statutory prohibition on alcohol sales. Limited floor area of 3,000 square feet for all restaurant activities. So based on the partial description of what I heard, and absent the actual code administrator's assessment of their description, it sounds like a limited restaurant that would be allowable.
And special exception applications go in front of planning commission,
Zoning hearing.
Zoning hearing board.
I'm getting a lot of different answers.
Right. Yeah,
Sorry.
zoning hearing board would be the first, right?
Right. If it were a conditional use, it would go before the U.S. Council, but special exception.
Special exception goes in front of zoning hearing board.
Yes.
We're usually notified of zoning hearing board hearings and can express an opinion, like they came in front of us for a liquor license and we're
Yes.
in support of,
If they needed to do, like, wanted to extend hours or do.
or no, just for the special exception under zoning.
Right.
Yeah, they would not, whatever it is, the zoning code stipulates the hours of 6 to 11 p.m. I don't know legally how that would interact with whatever permissions you would grant them in the liquor license if they requested to be open until 12. I would presume that zoning supersedes that arrangement, but that's a legal opinion that I am not offering now, so.
Right on, thank you.
Okay. So we have 3 more things, which are revisiting what we have previously discussed at the study session last week and 2 weeks ago at the public council meeting. We're just looking for a consensus on these items. One is the provisions that garages must be behind the front face of the house. This is what you addressed at the last study session. We're just looking for a consensus about your feelings that the provisions should stand in the mixed-use 1 and mixed-use 2 districts, that garages should be flush with the face of the house or rearward of that as part of these requirements for construction.
Consensus.
I consent.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in favor.
All right.
It's still a matter of aesthetics.
It is
And I'm not sure that the zoning ordinance should be addressing something that minute. I think it still has to come up to what the people who are investing in the property want for their own style. Whether a garage is 1 or 2 feet in front or flush or 1 or 2 feet behind, that's a de minimis issue. And so why are we spending time on a zoning ordinance addressing something that insignificant?
Well, we are addressing it by
consensus.
standing in front of it, right? So I think right now, there's consensus that we leave that intact just in the mixed-use district, which is downtown. It's a more public-facing streetscape, as you talked about.
to keep it as social as possible, right? That was what we discussed. It's a social thing, neighborhood social, so consensus is to.
Okay. I would also like you to please reiterate your consensus and mine and Gary's recommendation to continue with the provision that's already in the drafted ordinance that private and other temporary signs that are placed in the public right-of-way will be removed, or otherwise that temporary signs shall be prohibited in the public right-of-way after the enactment of the ordinance. And to clarify, that's already existing in the proposed ordinance. This is not a change. This is just to get an affirmative that this is, that you consent to this provision.
The way it was explained, I mean, when we were discussing it, I don't have an issue with it because what the walkarounds are to be on the other side of the street, to get,
It's just to keep it out of the right-of-way and subject
Right.
to all the other
Temporary signage.
uniform
Yeah.
sign
In
provisions.
private, yeah.
yeah.
But all signs mean all signs.
It does not mean all signs, we're talking about all temporary signs. Permanent signs are already prohibited in the right-of-way. We're talking about those temporary placement of lawn signs, signs that can be easily removed, signs that are just a stake, or those, H-frame plastic signs that often advertise events or temporary things or directions to real estate sales the block over. All of those that are commonly placed by people, whether or not they own the property in the right-of-way where they place them, those would be prohibited.
There will be some properties, a few properties in Meadville, where this ordinance, if kept as you've proposed, would make it impossible for someone to advertise the sale of their own property because their houses abut the sidewalk and they wouldn't be permitted to put signs in the right-of-way.
They would be able to place temporary signs like that on the face of their building or in the window of their building.
I think that's what they do now, a lot of times, right? I see that.
Most of them are putting it in the right-of-way.
Right, no, I mean, I see a lot of for sale signs on the building and in the windows. So what are you guys thinking? I feel like we're
In
real
favor
quiet.
of, I think we discussed this at length at the study session. I'm in favor of keeping with your recommendation and Gary's and keeping it as proposed in this ordinance.
All right. Thirdly is revisiting
something from council meeting of 2 weeks ago, and that is either reducing or removing the 125-foot buffer requirement that applies to the campus institutional district in the proposed zoning ordinance.
What would, so if we remove the buffer, what would the normal setbacks be of?
It depends. I believe it's rear yards 40 feet, front yards 20 feet, side yards 10 feet. That's operating from memory at this point, but I can look up the exact. It depends on the form of use also, because if you have a more intense use, it'll have slightly larger setbacks. But I believe all the setbacks, the yard setbacks are less than 50 feet.
In favor of removing that buffer restriction.
So if we remove this restriction, someone could build a dormitory a matter of 10 or 15 feet from the property line where there's a single family home next door.
Let me double check that for you. Patience. Let's see. Let's see. If it's all other uses lot by lot, they'd have a side yard requirement of 15 feet, rear yard of 40 feet.
So 15 feet
the
between a
property
new
line.
building
Yep.
and what could, in the case that Jim's laying out, be a single family home.
So it's possible, if setbacks for a specific use is your concern, we can break out, say, dormitories or other large buildings and have specific setbacks for those. But those are what's proposed, remembering that a dormitory is no longer considered a multifamily dwelling, but under the rooming house ordinance is considered rooming house, which here means it's.
And if I recall, the proposed ordinance allows for dormitories up to 5 stories tall.
It allows for any structure to be up to 5 stories tall in the campus institutional district.
Okay, so you could have a 5-story building 15 feet from the property line next to a single-family home, which would maybe be effectively shrouded from sunlight for most of the day.
To my memory, yes, that's what it
Okay.
means.
And Peter, that's keeping with this, our zoning ordinance. A regular house should be 15 feet away from the property line, and then the new building would need to be 15 feet from the property line technically.
Correct.
So then it would actually be 30 feet away from.
That's correct.
The next building, okay.
Yes.
I'm just.
Right. So I know it's a little bit deceptive there. I'm sorry, let me correct. Single-family dwellings, 10 feet. So there would be a minimum of 25 feet
Got
of
it.
space. So recalling that the setbacks for side yards are additive between neighboring properties.
And our institutional campus zones are around Allegheny College and around the MASH.
College, high school,
complex.
Westbury.
Westbury, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, my opinion is, yes, to take, go with regular setbacks.
My opinion is to have different institutional categories. I've said that before. Westbury, the hospital, the college, and the high school are dramatically different in their characters. And
Jim-
to have them all, have 3 of them in an institutional campus zone, I don't think is serving the public well.
So Jim, you mean 3 different zones,
I mean, yeah,
types of zones? So I feel like we've moved beyond that, like we're further along in the process where we're not gonna have new zones. So I guess like considering that, in where we are right now, what do you want? Do
where
you
we are,
want
I-
setbacks based on
I still-
building type?
I still think that it is not appropriate to have these different uses in a single category zone. I don't think the people are being well-served. I don't think the community is being well-served by having that. So you can say you're beyond it, but the point is, it's not an appropriate use.
Sure, I don't think she said she's beyond it, I think she said that this process is, we're just beyond that in this process. But I do understand what you're saying, okay. How do you feel, Larry, about this?
I understand what Jim is saying.
Sure.
I don't know. I think it needs more discussion. I don't think it should just be,
Sure.
because it makes sense. If someone does build a building, or if there's a single-family home next to it, I think it's just something I don't want to give an answer right away. I think we need to discuss it and come up with examples or types that may.
And you mean in those 3 things, okay,
Right.
so that's, but for tonight, all I can say is my consensus is to move forward with making it setbacks regular, in this particular situation.
Yeah, for me, I guess Peter, you did a walking around campus, right? And Jim, I'm trying to think of like, as I walk campus, where they would put a dormitory that I was really feeling like I couldn't even imagine like where that would be, like if there was a lot, especially with, I mean, who knows what into the future, but right now we know that Allegheny is downsizing, and it's kind of like, I just don't know that it's really a problem, like, it might be in 10 years, but I don't know. It was just, that's what struck me, is I could not imagine the conflict that you're worried about.
I'm worried about possibilities, not just probabilities.
Yeah,
And that's why I'm expressing a concern, because an area that you think might be a parking lot today, like the corner of Park Avenue and Prospect Street, may at some point in the future become a dormitory. And there are adjacent homes which would be impacted.
yeah, well, Allegheny owns those homes right now, and
Some
the
of them.
other ones are across the street.
Some.
Well, the ones that are, right, yeah.
On my part, thinking about it and listening, it's something that can be revisited. If we go ahead and move on this now, the next council, whomever, if it needs to be changed, can revisit it. So I understand, and I thought I agreed with what you're saying first, but to think about it, to prevent all that, that Peter's done and the progress, I think that where we're at. I think we ought to realize, again, it can be revisited. If we go along with this, the next council, whomever, can change it. So I'm gonna go along with it because we have invested a lot of time, and energy, and I think it's, for where we're at, what we're talking about, I think it's doable.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that there's a consensus among you to remove the 125-foot buffer requirement for the institutional campus districts. And if it's context to help anybody, this buffer requirement is new to the proposed zoning ordinance and does not already exist in the current zoning ordinance for the area around Nash and Allegheny, although it does with Westbury. So I'm very happy to spend my time to explain everything as completely as possible, so every decision that is made is very well considered. Whatever the time that has been invested in it, so if there's more to explain about this, please come to me individually, and I can go over the nuances of how this and the application applies systematically throughout the campus districts and the public and accredited private school as a use in other districts. And hospitals, medical clinics, and nursing and other care facilities.
Thanks, Peter. So, sorry, just to be clear, so this 125-foot buffer was true at Westbury, but by creating a campus district that maintains the same regulations, right, in different zones across town, by making that one type of
Correct.
district that now would apply to other places in the way it hasn't before.
Correct. To my understanding
Okay.
and memory, there are 4, right now in the 1994 current zoning ordinance, there are 4 institutional districts, I-1 through 4. One of them is for Westbury, one of them is for the hospitals, one of them is for Allegheny, one of them is for the schools. The 125-foot buffer currently only applies to Westbury, but reducing the number of total districts has applied that 125-foot buffer to MASH and Allegheny as well in the proposed ordinance.
Got it. The idea was to kind of simplify, right, by, rather than having 4 different sets of rules for institutional zones, have one set of stipulations for an institutional.
Yes, sir. While I also can sympathize with the idea that a very intense use, such as the college that can develop within its bounds in sometimes unpredictable ways, one might want to insulate that from neighboring uses. I'm just saying it's the manner in which that's done.
Got it.
Thank you,
But that was the
Peter.
proposal anyway. All right, thank you. That's all.
Yeah, thanks. And he will explain everything to you, you just go to him. I've asked.
I forgot.
I will ask him and he does come. So, discussion resolution, juniors council person program.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Meadville authorizing participation in the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs Junior Council Person Program. Resolved by the Council of the City of Meadville that whereas Meadville City Council seeks to educate and involve the youth of the city in their local government and to reach out to involve possible future members of council to benefit both the youth and all residents of the city. And whereas the Junior Council Person Program, as established and fostered by the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs, seeks to encourage high school age residents to participate in the workings of their local government. And whereas City Council intends to work with area educational leaders to select a student or students to serve as junior council persons during the school year. And whereas the council wishes to extend to the youth of the City of Meadville a voice in the operation of this city and this council. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Meadville hereby creates the position of junior council person. The term of office shall be during the student school year. Candidates for the position shall submit a written application with an essay highlighting the applicant's interest in the position. After considering all the submissions, City Council shall appoint students at a regularly scheduled meeting. The junior council person shall be a city resident and a high school junior or senior. The junior council person shall, upon appointment, take a junior council person pledge. The junior council person shall not receive compensation. The junior council person shall be permitted to attend all meetings of council and all committee meetings and shall be permitted to participate fully in those proceedings except that she shall not be afforded the right to vote and shall not be permitted to attend executive sessions.
Yeah, can I have a motion to
Motion.
authorize?
Second?
Discussion?
So included in your packets is the guidelines for the program. Katie has put these guidelines together. She can answer any questions council may have in regards to the program. So if council does have any questions, they can direct those to Katie for the most part.
Not surprisingly, I have some questions. All right, first, under the guideline, it says that the JCP should be a City of Meadville resident. I think that if you're going to adopt it, ought to be changed to must be a City of Meadville resident. The proposed term would coincide with the school year. I would suggest that you do something different and have the term run from June 1 through May 31st. The idea being that if if you're serious about being a junior council person, then you realize it's not a 9-month-of-the-year job, it's a 12-month-of-the-year job, and you should be attending all meetings. And also suggest that they attend study session meetings, and if there's a problem with scheduling, that perhaps we need to be putting our study sessions at a time when the proposed junior council people would be able to attend along with members of the public.
But I will just say briefly that the guidelines before you follow the model that has been put out by the Boroughs Association.
Sure.
So changes are permitted if majority wishes to do so.
But this is what the Boroughs Association, the one that we're like adopting. Right, okay.
How many people are you proposing?
With this, we would have a max of 2. The idea is that you would have a junior and a senior, and they could potentially serve as a mentor towards the younger student. But there would be no more than 2 at any point.
Where would they sit? Looking around this room, where are they gonna sit?
Right there.
We can change how we sit. I've always wanted to. This is stuffy.
I'm sure we can accommodate them.
Yeah.
Maybe not in this format, but we
I
can
think it's smaller
accommodate them.
chairs. I think
Yeah, we could put a couple more people.
So they would participate in discussions.
Correct.
Okay. Now you realize, of course, that council members-elect who have actually run for office are not permitted to participate in discussions and are not invited to sit with council once they're elected. Yet we're talking about an appointive position and having someone sit with council and participate in discussions, having never stood for an election.
This is a program, a learning program.
Well, then they need to learn that they should be serving 12 months a year, not 9 months a year. And then there should be a mandatory attendance requirement. This is not something where you say, I want to go skiing, or I want to go to the beach,
Well, it
or I
says
want to have
that-
the summer off.
It says if they don't come to the meetings, or that there will be repercussion from it, so, I mean, I think, first of all, I think anybody that signs up for it is gonna probably have a general knowledge or interest and looked into it. But more importantly, it's a learning program. You don't wanna scare them away. Juniors and seniors that are gonna be off in the summer, they're gonna wanna have some vacation sometime. Council members and people take vacation, so to hold them that strict, you gotta remember they're kids, and it's a learning program. You don't want to discourage other kids from participating the following year by being too strict, too harsh on them. Let them learn the way they want, that's comfortable for them.
Then they're not learning what the job is all about.
That's a matter of opinion.
I think this is great. I think it would be great to have young people part of our like deliberation process, even if they can't cast votes. I think us understanding from young people what they want to see and getting them to weigh in would help us, and hopefully if they can learn how these decisions are made and think long-term about their city, they'll stay here and want to continue to contribute and be civic-minded citizens of the city of Meadville for a long time. I think it's great. I appreciate staff bringing this.
So do I.
Katie, I think that because the resolution says the junior council person shall be a city resident, I doesn't say should, that's just in the,
Yeah.
so I'm fine with the resolution as it is, and
And I correct that language in the guidelines.
In the
so it says
guidelines,
shall.
yeah.
Should there even be?
Well, you know, I'm really pro this, I think this is a great program.
That would solve
And-
what he's saying.
It's accessible in Grove City and other places, I think it's great to develop civic engagement.
And I did speak with the program managers from Warren, Grove City, and Titusville. All 3 cities have this. All 3 said it's been very successful, and it does not absorb a lot of staff time outside of just the application process.
And they only do 11th and 12th, juniors and seniors, they don't?
Correct, yeah. A couple of them do permit sophomores, but most of them restrict it to junior and seniors.
I mean, because on the line of what, now this is my interpretation of what he was thinking, if you were to start with sophomores, that may possibly give them 3 years, that would they get more experience, they would get what he's talking about, the meetings and everything.
Correct.
It's not all crammed in. I mean, that's something that we could, I guess we could consider.
Yeah. I think part of the reason they gear it towards juniors and sophomores is because they're already doing the college search and they're already having, you know, some idea of where they want to go. The other issue is transportation. Not all sophomores have the transportation.
Right. But I guess, so if a sophomore expressed interest, then,
Yeah.
okay, that's what yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who, you mentioned staff time, who would be responsible, like, who would be coordinating? So like, they get meeting reminders and.
Correct, yep. They would get
The
everything
correspondence
that council does. They would get access to the packet, outside of anything that is considered executive session material. They would receive the same information though, and, you know, I would meet with them regularly to make sure that are getting what they need and getting something out of the program. Additionally, the Boroughs Association does have a pretty well-established packet that goes to every junior council person that gives them, it's a resource guide for how local government operates. So they would have an idea of what Robert's rules are, you know, what the council manager form of government, all of that, so.
Is there any kind of like cohort programming across the Boroughs Association that like they would be part of with other?
Yeah, the Boroughs Association does encourage them to attend conferences and training. That would be up to council if that's something you wanted them to do, but it would be an opportunity for them to meet with other junior council members across the state.
And how many people would have to have clearances?
So based on the state guidelines, only the person that is supervising the student, so in that case it would be me, and I do hold my clearances, so.
I think it's a great idea.
So do I.
If you change it from June 1 to May 31st, I would support it.
I think, I just,
That one day is really gonna be the deal breaker for Jim.
I think it should just be the school year, because kids work in the evenings and we can't, that's just another conflict. I don't think they should be at study sessions. We haven't hard enough time to get our schedules together. I think it's good to go as is.
And it's not to say that if they want to come during the summer,
Yeah.
they're
Right.
more than
Sure,
welcome
but
to.
they shouldn't be obligated to do so,
Right.
especially if they have to have summer jobs, they have to do these different things to
Yeah.
get ready for their futures. Yeah, no, I think it's a great program as is. I agree with Gretchen, I don't think they should have to come to study sessions. If they wanna show up, that's fine, right? And if, I think we should go as is. Where are we at here? Yes, can I have a roll call? Well, did we all, yeah, roll call.
Yep.
Sorry, we all weighed in, sorry.
McKnight,
Aye.
Myers,
Aye.
Rova,
No.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye. All right, new business, discussion, motion, sustainable Pennsylvania recertification for City of Meadville. Sorry.
So the city is currently certified a gold municipality with Sustainable Pennsylvania. This certification is set to expire at the end of this year. The recertification process is new this year. So we would ask council to act upon allowing us to seek the recertification, just in case it takes us a little extra time working through the new application process. So Sustainable Pennsylvania is a free program, certification program created to assist local governments' measure of sustainability and to provide a curated list of resources and opportunities to help the community improve.
Can I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Discussion?
Is the idea, are you trying to task EAC with this? Is that part of the?
Yes, yep, it could be an opportunity for the AC to handle this and weigh in.
How, I don't know if this would be your call or Nathan's, right, I think the first time we went through the program, it was Bennett Gould as like our stormwater manager who led through. I don't know if Fred is like in a position at all to help, because I imagine that there there will be some draw of staff time,
Sure.
right? And staff needs to have some kind of role.
So it'd likely be Nathan, and if Nathan felt that either Fred or maybe even Peter could help with the process, that's probably who he would task to do that.
Does anybody have any other questions? Roll call?
McKnight,
Aye.
Myers,
Aye.
Roha,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye.
Do have another question. I think it said in our notes that one of the benefits is priority funding points. Have we gotten funding as a result of our certification in the past?
I don't think solely because of our certification, but it does add points in when they assess points to our grant applications, we get extra points for being sustainable.
There's usually a number of different boxes that you can check, that give you a little bit priority extra points. This is one of those boxes, dependent upon the application. So it's hard to say if it's because we checked the box.
But we're able
but
to
it
check the
certainly-
box in
One more box we
DCED,
can-
like in state and federal?
It depends on the
applications?
application,
Okay.
but yes, yeah.
Right, thank you.
Motion, resolution, transfer of liquor license from Borough of Springboro to the City of Meadville by Six Pack Enterprises LLC.
Motion?
A second. Discussion? Thanks for coming. Excited for your business.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
I'm going to read the resolution. It's pretty lengthy, so just.
Brenda, you can just read the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Meadville, County of Crawford, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, approving transfer of retail liquor license number R-20048 into the City of Meadville, Crawford County, Pennsylvania, from Springboro Borough, Crawford County, Pennsylvania.
No questions? Roll call.
McKnight,
Aye.
Myers,
Aye.
Rohan,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye. Resolution authorized signatures license agreement for outdoor seating, City of Meadville and Pale Horse Industries, Inc., Julian's Bar and Grill.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Meadville authorizing signatures on a license agreement for outdoor seating between the City of Meadville and Pale Horse Industries.
Motion?
Second.
Discussion?
This is the standard license agreement Julian's enters into with the city on a yearly basis. It closes a portion of South Cottage Street next to Julian's for use during the summer for outside seating. Cost of this license is $100.
Does anybody have any questions?
Just a comment, last year we talked about reviewing fees, and that has not occurred. Are we going to be doing that at some point in the future?
We are going to be reviewing fees as it applies here. I don't know if, Tim, you have any comments on how it applies to the license fees, how much we can charge.
Well, we need to, our fee limitation is such that it's a cost, recouping our costs to manage and monitor these items. So we'd have to see what those costs are and do some sort of cost study when you do a review.
And that's what I'm suggesting.
So the
And-
cost of shutting down that alley for the summer is what we would be looking at? I mean, in this particular case.
Yeah, you'd be looking at the legal costs to draft, and I know we're basically filling in the blanks from last year, but we're looking at legal costs to examine the documents. There are imputed costs or imputed lost income. If you had parking spaces on one side of the alley and still had room for traffic on the other side of the alley, that would be an imputed loss of revenue. Just like if there's advertising costs, and in this particular case, I don't believe these have to be advertised, but certain things do.
So you want to do that with every single fee that we collect?
I think we should be looking at fees, we talked about this in the past, not just these fees, but false alarm fees, maybe EMS calls, but no transport fees,
Sure.
that sort of thing.
I agree with, looking at fees, and at some point, we looked at this fee, right, and we came up with a cost at some.
Correct,
Right.
yes.
So what you're just saying is, costs have gone up, so we want
Right.
to, okay, yeah. At some point, I feel like that, it's okay to reassess fees and, especially in budget
Yeah,
season
and
or whatever.
especially like maybe if, I don't know to what extent staff like attributes, and I don't wanna get to the point where like staff is attributing every hour of the day, but I feel like that, right, we could over time, if, okay, we're gonna track for the next couple months, how much time we spend on a particular type of fee as a way to assess.
We do review them annually
Yeah.
before council adopts, and so I work with the department heads and we do break down what those costs are based on time, staff time, materials, et cetera.
So it's happening.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
it is happening.
Annually. So, check that one off.
That sounds good. Roll call?
McKnight,
Aye.
Myers,
Aye.
Roja,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye. Resolution authorized signatures, license agreement for outdoor seating, Chippers Pub. Can I have a motion? Oh, I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead.
mean, it's basically what you just said, a resolution of the council of the city of Meadville authorizing signatures on a license agreement for outdoor seating between the city of Meadville and Chippers Pub.
So moved.
Discussion?
I love when we do this every year. I love when we get to sit outside
I do too.
at these restaurants.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad they come to us
I
every year
guess
to do
that's a
it.
yes for everyone.
Roll call.
McKnight,
Yes.
Myers,
Aye.
Roja,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye. Resolution authorizing signatures, municipal intern program agreement, City of Meadville and Local Government Academy.
A resolution of the council of the city of Meadville authorizing signatures on the 2023 municipal intern program agreement between the city of Meadville and Local Government Academy.
Motion?
A second?
Discussion.
This is an opportunity for the city to host a municipal intern. This is an undergraduate or graduate student seeking real world experience in local government, in the public sector. It is a paid position, internship position, $12 an hour. Because the city participated in the STANT program, the city would be reimbursed 66% of the intern's wages, up to 480 hours. Renna and Peter have been working on this. The individual will likely be associated with them and helping them in some capacity. I believe that they do have a couple candidates that they will select from here shortly.
So what do we hope to accomplish? What projects do we hope to accomplish with this?
Renna, do you have,
Yeah, so I apologize I didn't include it again in this packet, but in last council meeting's packet, the project description for the intern was included. Essentially, the project is looking at redevelopment area planning, as the planning commission has been tasked with identifying a redevelopment area. And so assisting with the planning and preparation of that. Kind of planning commission can only meet once a month, to help ensure that things are moving along on that end. Having them, review kind of existing plans that we have in the city to familiarize themselves first with that. Looking at other communities, of what they've done for redevelopment areas. Looking at mixed-use commercial residential developments. And overall, the municipal intern program as a whole just aims to, introduce, like very similarly to the junior council person program, to get people to understand what all local government does. I've participated in the program when I was a college student, and now here I am. I participated in this in a township in southwestern PA, so not here with the city of Meadville. But it's just a good opportunity to kind of help train that next level future generations of municipal workers, employees.
So this would be like a 4-month program?
Yes, it's through the summer.
So they're full-time through the summer months.
Yep.
400 city hours.
Yeah, up to, it's a minimum of 400 hours, maximum 480, yeah.
Does anybody have any other questions?
Good program.
Roll call.
McKnight,
Aye.
Myers,
Aye.
Roja,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye. Resolution, award bids and authorize signatures Bessemer Street paving project.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Meadville awarding the bid in the amount of $197,149.50 to Shields Asphalt Paving for bituminous paving and placement of shoulders on Bessemer Street as part of the city's capital paving program.
Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Discussion?
The resolution pretty much says it all. This will cover the majority of Bessemer Street, this paving, going from the tracks on the north end of Bessemer all the way to Mead Ave. And as the resolution said, funding for the project is coming from the most recent capital borrowing.
Is that because the land is in a floodplain and would not qualify for CDBG?
Probably, yes.
Okay.
Anybody have any other questions?
Is this, I feel like a long time, several months ago, some point last year, we were approached about paving Bessemer as a kind of contribution to the French Creek development. Is this that? Is this that paving project?
That has evolved over the time since that plan was first hatched many years ago. It is part of that project, yes.
Is it
It's
our
part.
part of that project?
It is part of our part of that project?
Is that our part? That's
We
what our
had-
part was
We had
going to be.
agreed to pave it.
Yes.
Again, it has evolved from that, as what in-kind contributions look like. So, yes and no is the answer.
So there's more that we're doing.
Correct.
Yeah, I want to, the roads are ours, right? And if that's the
Yeah.
thing that we can contribute to this project, I think that we should separately. I just feel like I'm taking real issue with borrowing to pave. Paving our streets doesn't pay back that money, and so it just feels like, when we borrow to pave, that's just we're just digging ourselves into a hole that doesn't pay itself back, because that doesn't generate anything for the city to be able to pay back those bonds that we issued. So I'm just,
The only thing I will say is that this is not just to pave it situation. It is
well, Bessemer's
the
bad.
road's
Bessemer's a bad road.
And there are a number of other businesses along that stretch that would very much appreciate.
The road needs to be paved.
It's-
I
it's
wish we
hard,
could
right.
pay for paving of roads without borrowing money to do it. Yeah, that's like separately, I want to be able to do this for those businesses.
Does anybody have any other questions? Roll call.
McKnight,
Aye.
Myers,
Aye.
Roja,
Aye.
Vogel,
I'm
Kinder.
Aye. Public comment on non-agenda items?
None?
Council member statements? Jim?
Thank you. Like everybody said, it was a great time at the fire station on Saturday, watching the push-in, looking at the ambulances, eating the hot dogs, and enjoying the sunshine.
Thanks, Jim. Gretchen?
I don't really have anything.
Larry?
Nor do I.
Anna?
Yeah, I'll just reiterate what Jim said. We talked about the EMS open house a lot. I just want to thank the union for stepping up and the union and staff for working with me to organize it. It was great, and they did so much work and really made it, I think, a great event that was valuable. Like, it engaged people, it showed people the fire department, the services we offered. It was awesome. It was a beautiful day, and I think a great way to welcome a lot of new folks into the department too. That was special. I hope it felt special for them, because not every hire gets a big barbecue when they start a new job. But I'm glad these ones did. So that was great. So thanks again to the union, the local firefighters union, and to the staff in the department for working alongside me on that. That turned out great. And our city staff too, for everything that we all did. And also today, beautiful day in Meadville. In my day job, I got to, I'm a cooperative business developer, and I got to organize a tour of Meadville for cooperative business developers like me across the country, and also folks from the USDA who fund cooperative business development and other business development in rural areas. So we were the rural tour of our kind of Pittsburgh 2-day session, and it was great. We saw Common Roots, we saw the Market House, we saw French Creek Coffee and Tea, we saw the investment cooperative, and it was just, people were just blown away and loved Meadville and loved everything that was going on here, and it just felt like I loved sharing it with folks, and it made me it was a good feeling to know that there's good things going on, that folks recognize that, folks who have access to funding streams recognize that, it's a good reminder, I think, sometimes to step back and realize all that we have. And I'm excited to bring new folks, like new young people, into maybe that same kind of pride that we feel in town through these programs. Excited for the junior council person program, excited for the municipal internship program. Thanks. I'm done.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day. The people on Autumn's tour were awesome. They are doing good work, right, to make housing and different things equitable, right, like, which is something that we don't have. So I think that the work that they're doing is super important. I want to thank everybody for being at the fire station, and I am so thankful that I get to be a part of the things that are happening in Meadville. And when I am, 90, I'm going to look back and I'm going to remember these things, and I'm going to be very thankful that I was a part of them. So I do want to point that out and make it clear that the things we are doing are and the people in Meadville are making Meadville stronger. And I don't think anybody has any, everybody here knows how I feel about Meadville, and I just want to make it clear that the people here in Meadville, it's worth fighting for, it's worth our time, and I'm so thankful to be in the company of the people that I get to be in the company of. So thanks everybody here, and everybody that watches, and everybody that lives here. We really do live in a cool place. So with that, I am going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn to executive session.
Do we have an executive session?
I'm asking for an executive session. I'm
yes.
moving to adjourn.
Adjourn to an executive session, okay. Can I have a second?
Second.
Is it about anything?
To discuss personnel.
Personnel.
Can I say personnel?
Okay.
That's the, yeah. No, a second.
Discussion. Yes. Roll call.
McKnight,
Aye.
Myers,
Aye.
Rohan,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye.